everybody should have a business need to know. Everybody does not need to know your business. Everybody doesn't need to know the reason why you did anything.
Only been a few hours, but it felt like days. Only been days, but it felt like months. Been gone for a year, only know like once. Life moves fast.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Radiantly Feminine podcast, where we embrace elegance, confidence, and the power of true femininity. I'm your host, Mookie. So whether you're looking to refine your presence, elevate your mindset, or even navigate relationships with ease, this is going to be your space to grow and glow. So sit back and relax, and let's go ahead and get right into the episode. So today we are going to talk about how you can step into your main character era by simply placing yourself on the pedestal. So what this episode is going to be about is you not waiting around for someone else to crown you, tell you you're valuable, or even tell you what you're worth. So hopefully by the end of this episode, you find some motivation to stop playing small and stop shrinking yourself in order to fit in other people's lives. And this means that you are going to own your worth and truly see how valuable you are on the inside and out. So if you're in your healing journey and trying to reconnect with your feminine energy and also trying to curate better friendships, better relationships, a better life, and most importantly, a better relationship with yourself, then this episode is going to be for you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the episode. What does it actually mean to place yourself on the pedestal? So when I say place yourself on the pedestal into your main character era by placing yourself on the pedestal, I don't mean act entitled, I don't mean act arrogant or cold towards other people and act like you're better than them. This is simply about embracing self-love. This is learning how to love yourself to the fullest, truly embracing self-love and not accepting less than what you deserve. And I also mean start showing up in the world with the quiet confidence of a woman who knows who she is. So this is, again, not playing small, just walking through life like you know who you are. You see yourself for who you truly are. So this means you are going to walk with intention, you are going to walk with strength, and you are going to walk with softness. Because again, you know who you are, you see yourself for who you truly are, both inside and out. And placing yourself on the pedestal means that you are leading with your feminine confidence, you are setting high standards, not just in dating, but in everything around you. So this is going to be your environment, your work, your relationships, even your routines. You just have high standards all around you because you know what you deserve, because you know and you see who you are. So this is all about embodying that mindset of I am the prize. I am enough. I am worthy of beautiful things simply because I exist. And I'm going to leave that mantra in the description because I think that's something that everybody needs to say to themselves, and I highly recommend mirror work. I will be creating an episode on how to do mirror work if you're not familiar with it, but it's not some magical thing that you have to do. It's just looking at yourself in the mirror, looking at your reflection, and telling yourself who you are so that you can finally wake up and see yourself for who you truly are. So again, that mantra is I am the prize, I am enough, I am worthy of beautiful things simply because I exist. So I think that's something that you should start saying to yourself on a daily basis, so that way you could just remember who you are and start embracing yourself for who you truly are. So unfortunately, as women in this society, we were conditioned to believe that humility meant shrinking ourselves, playing small in this cruel world, and not living and walking in the confidence that we were truly meant to embody. And we're also taught to think that being liked and being accepted was way more important than being valued and respected. And it's the complete opposite. You want to be valued and respected. You don't want to be out here chasing validation or chasing acceptance from somebody who doesn't even deserve to have you in their life. And being nice, I want you to know that being nice does not mean abandoning your boundaries. I want you to be kind. I don't want you to focus on being nice to the next person, because like I said, they probably don't even deserve to have you in their life. But focus on being kind to the people that deserve it. You don't have to be nice to everybody, because 9 times out of 10, they probably don't even deserve that. They won't even appreciate it. So stop trying your hardest to be nice, because being in your divine feminine energy means that you are being magnetic. Not because you're chasing the things that you want, but because you are truly radiant. This is going to be especially true if you've ever felt like you had to chase somebody or, work for somebody to love you, prove your value, and even overextend yourself to be accepted. So just know that cycle ends now. So the big question is how do we start putting ourselves on the pedestal today? I want to give you all some practices that I wrote down, so I'll just be looking down at the practices so that way you can start embodying or start placing yourself on the pedestal today. This is going to help you recenter yourself and realign with your feminine energy. And then that way, once you realign with your feminine energy, you're going to remove anybody that you place on the pedestal. Because let's be honest, when we're obsessing over something or we're obsessing over someone, so say we're obsessing over an outcome or we're obsessing over a new object or some material item, or we're obsessing over somebody. Let's be honest, like we've all obsessed over having somebody in our lives, usually in dating. When you're obsessing over something, you are actually placing it on the pedestal. You are removing yourself off of the pedestal that you're supposed to be placing yourself on, and you're placing that object, that material item, that outcome, and even that person on the pedestal. So once you realign with who you are and your feminine energy, you're going to actually remove that person, that thing, that object off of the pedestal. And that way, once you remove it, you're not going to even obsess over it anymore. So I want you to recenter and realign with yourself so that way you can place yourself back on that pedestal. By doing that, you call back your energy, you call back your power. So start by speaking to yourself as if you are sacred. Your self-talk actually is going to set the tone for your standards and how much you value yourself. So if you tell yourself you're not worthy of something, you don't deserve this, guess what? That is going to become true, because what you're doing is rewiring, or you're just reaffirming that belief. So once you keep saying these things, I don't deserve this, you're going to reaffirm that and then actually start living the life where you don't have the things that you truly deserve. Next, you will need to curate your environment and your personal space. So this means creating a sanctuary in your home. I believe I talked about this in a previous video, but you need to start curating your space and your environment and your home to reflect you and your values. For me, I like soft lighting. I like beautiful home decor, soft home decor, something that just makes me want to be home and reminds me to be in a positive mindset and to always just value myself. And I also like to have background music, so I have a house playlist that I like to play just to have it as music in the background. It's very soft. I'll have some upbeat music on there, but it's a very nice playlist, and if you want that playlist, let me know. I can give it to you guys. But I do like to have these things just to remind me to stay in a positive mindset and to also remind myself to value who I truly am. And then also, speaking on environments, you want to go to places, you want to go out into environments that reflect you and your values and your standards. So for instance, if you like the finer things in life, put yourself in an environment that have the finer things in life. I like to go, me and my friend just went to an opera gala. That was really nice. We were surrounded by people that also like these types of things. So take yourself out of toxic environments, stop partaking in toxic habits, and put yourself in environments that reflect who you are and what you truly like and value. You'll also need to stop explaining yourself and over-explaining yourself. Give people that business need to know. So if they don't need to know all of your business, stop telling them all of your business. And this is going to create that air of mysteriousness that you need so that you can truly start to embody your feminine energy or your divine feminine energy. So like I said, everybody should have a business need to know. Everybody does not need to know your business. Everybody doesn't need to know the reason why you did anything. And when you stop over explaining yourself, you feel the need to stop seeking that outside validation, and you don't need to validate your decisions or your feelings, because you truly know who you are and you're not looking for somebody else to validate that. And then you also need to learn how to say no with love. Every time you say no, just know that you are actually saying yes to your personal values and your power. So when you learn to say no with love, just say no in a nice way. But again, you don't need to over-explain yourself, but just learn to say no with love so you can say yes to your personal power and your personal values. This will help you align with who you are and take back your power so you don't feel obligated. You're not giving into that feeling of obligation, like, oh, I have to do this just because they ask. Like, no, you know who you are and you know your worth. And even if you say no, that person is still going to value having them in their life. And lastly, you need to start surrounding yourself with aligned energy. And this falls back into going into environments that reflect what you value. Find communities of like-minded people so that way you can invite that aligned energy in. And when you find like-minded individuals, these individuals are usually, they're usually prone to uplift you rather than bring you down, because it's so much easier to pull somebody down rather than lift somebody up. But when you're already on that same level, they're going to say things to uplift you rather than pulling you down. If you're going into those, and what I'm trying to say, I hope this makes sense, but when you're going into those low vibrational environments, they're going to pull you down to their level. But if you're in the high vibrational communities or environments, then those people are going to keep you up here and possibly lift you up. But like I said, it's easier to pull somebody down than to lift them up. You have to be the one lifting yourself up to a higher vibration, but at least those people in the higher vibrations are not going to pull you down any further. Either going to keep you where you're at or give you words of affirmations or more support so that you can lift yourself up. But when you are placing yourself on the pedestal, it's so important to build your self-esteem. If you haven't done that already, if you're working on that, keep working on building your self-esteem. If you don't know, this is done by constructing a strong and confident self-image. So you have to see yourself in a whole new light. You have to try to switch your perspective to see yourself as somebody who is enough, who is valuable, who is deserving. And a really good movie that I would recommend you guys watch is I Feel Pretty. I forgot the name of the actress, but she's in a lot of things. This movie is so good for just recognizing who you are. She spent the entire movie wishing that she was somebody else. And in the movie, she bumps her head and sees herself in an entirely different light. She is someone who she wants to be. She's pretty, she's confident, and she sees herself for who she truly is. And she just moves through the world so differently. She gets what she wants because she has the confidence, and she is just going through life like the person she always wanted to be. Little did she know she was always that person. It just took her seeing it. And towards the end of the movie, or at the end of the movie, she realized she had always had that within her. She never changed. She just saw herself in a different light. So I want you to try to embody that. And again, watch the movie. I'll put it right here. But watch this movie if you need help just trying to shift your perspective to see that you are the person who is enough, who is deserving, and who is worthy. And then what I want you to do to place yourself on the pedestal.
So for some reason it stopped recording, but what I was trying to say is that I started meditating.
And while I was meditating, I imagined myself quite literally on a very tall pedestal, and everything that I wanted, money, love, a luxurious life, everything that I wanted, I imagined it at the bottom of the pedestal, reaching up, trying to get to me because it was so attracted to me. And I'm on the pedestal thinking, oh my goodness, these things want me. I'll accept it into my life if I want it. So I want you to meditate and just imagine yourself on a pedestal. This is going to be you energetically placing yourself on the pedestal. So that way you're not obsessing over the things. Instead, you are attracting the things that you want. And then when you imagine it this way, you're switching your perspective, and now you're telling yourself, I am worthy, I am deserving of the things that I want. And then I want you to try to master the law of detachment. That is going to also be an upcoming episode on this channel. But I want you to try to learn to master the law of detachment, so that way you are detaching from the outcome of what you want. So that way you are just living in the present moment, and you are taking life one day at a time without obsessing over the outcome. Because when you're obsessing over the outcome, what are you doing? You're placing the outcome on the pedestal rather than seeing that you are deserving of what you want. And that way it stops you from attracting what you want, and you want to attract the things that you want. So stop obsessing over the outcome by mastering the law of detachment. When you master the law of detachment, you are actually letting go of control and allowing things to just happen naturally. So say if you are out here wanting $100 and you're constantly going after all these different situations, trying to control how you receive that $100. But once you let go of control, you have an overflow of money. It's 10 times more than what you were asking for, 10 times more than the $100 you were asking for, and you were obsessing over getting $100. Little did you know, the universe, God, or whatever you believe in, was like, I have all this money for you, I just need you to relax, let go of control so that I can give it to you, so that it can flow to you naturally. So try to let go of control by mastering the law of detachment. So that way you're not holding on to the outcome of how you receive something. And again, when you obsess over something, an object, a person, an outcome, you are energetically placing it on the pedestal and removing yourself off the pedestal. So in other words, you're telling yourself you are not worthy of the things that you want. You are not deserving of the things that you want. And it needs to be the opposite. And you are in dating, for people who are dating, when you are obsessing over the guy, you are energetically putting him on the pedestal, and you were subconsciously telling yourself you are not deserving of this guy. So you start chasing, you start asking, what are we, and this and that. Take a step back, pause, and remove him off of the pedestal and put yourself back on there. Reclaim your spot on that pedestal, so that way you can enter your main character era and just let the guy go to you naturally, and you're not chasing him, but you're attracting him. Also, when you are dating and you find yourself obsessing over the guy or putting the guy on the pedestal, I want you to take a step back, and instead of complimenting him, think of ways that you are amazing and show gratitude to yourself. And that will put yourself back in your spot on the pedestal. Another thing that you can do is go take a baby picture or your baby photo album. My mom made me a baby photo album, so if you have one, go look at your younger self and talk to your younger self and tell them how amazing you are today. You can also write love letters to yourself, and you can also do mirror talk like I talked about before. It's not some magical thing that you're doing. It's literally just changing your self-concept, changing how you see yourself, switching your perspective on how you see yourself, so that way you can just see yourself for who you truly are and start walking in that quiet confidence and just seeing yourself for who you truly are. So I want you guys to know, before we end this episode, that placing yourself on the pedestal is not a one-time thing. It's a daily devotion. It's a return to your truth. You are reclaiming your birthright to be cherished, not by others, but by you. So I want you to remember that placing yourself on the pedestal isn't about being above anybody else. It's about being above the version of you that settled. So I want you to ask yourself today, am I treating myself like the masterpiece that I am? You can answer this independently, or you can answer this in the comments, whatever you see fit. But I do want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Please make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and follow the podcast. The link will be in the description. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend so that it can help the channel grow and we can reach more people and more women like yourself. So until next time, stay radiant, keep loving yourself, and keep on glowing. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.